Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the...
Good morning, everybody. Guess where you're at right now? Well, guess where you should be if you're not. The Diamond Factor Experience show with Barbara Beckley and experts and special guests. And you know, I always say that. You're like, okay, you always add that little extra. Yes, I do. You know why I do? Let me tell you why I do. I do that because it takes a team. You know how a long time ago they said the old saying, well, you know, with the children, now this is back maybe 60s, 70s. Now I'm taking myself back, my age, but that's okay. Because back then, you know, we had a lot of wisdom. We still do. So, you know how they said it takes a village? Everybody, you know, understood that when they said it takes a village. Some people, you know, nowadays, especially the younger group, they're probably like, you know, don't take a village. I don't even see nobody around my neighborhood, whatever. But back in the day, I take it way back. It took a village. I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I had to bring up. I'm in this. I know people said now another book, Barbara. Yeah, I'm in another collaboration book coming up. But this is a book where they have funny, different stories of your life. So they said, Barbara, they came to me. They said, Barbara, would you be willing to do a chapter in my book? You don't have to pay for it. I was like, well, first of all, I said, okay, well, that might be just a good collaboration already. And they said, but you had to do a funny story of your life. And they'll critique it and everything. And then it'll be in the book, and just people learn how to create humor in their presentations. So I was like, okay. And then I was thinking, I was like, I have funny stories, through your years, you got funny things that happen in your life. But I'm like, what can I really put for a chapter? So then I thought about the day I was 6 years old. Yes, 6 years old, and I already was acting up. Already was acting up. But this is where it takes a village. So to make it short and sweet, because we want to bring in Mr. Jim Hunter, because that's the awesomest person in the world right now. You know that, right? Just let you know. If you didn't know that, if you get the memo, then I don't know what's wrong with your emails. That's just your thing. But anyway, so back to me at 6. So what happened was, and I'll make this just short, brief story. Had friends over. I was the only child, needed some company. I got tired of talking to the stuffed animals and the dolls. And, after a while, you get to sometimes tired of talking to yourself through the dolls. So anyway, I asked my mother, I said, can I have some friends come over? At that point in time, you have to ask permission. Then she has to call the parents. Then she has to talk to them. I mean, it's like it's like a whole project back then. So anyway, my mother called the parents. They said, okay, yes, they can come over. They came over with 2 of my friends down the street. And, I was just so happy I had more than just myself talking to myself. So I said, I got my friends, and we played what we call board games, Monopoly. And we was getting some Monopoly, we were playing that, and then the time was going. And then we played another game called Sorry. I'm doing quotes, air quotes, because these are older board games. I mean, it's still out there, but some people might not know it's a board game. See, the video games now were the board games back then. So after we did that, it was getting late. And then all of a sudden I hear a little small voice from the kitchen saying, Barbara, your friends are going to have to leave now. It's time. You have to get ready for school tomorrow. So, me all excited, say, yeah. Okay, Ma, I hear you. Now, usually when your mother at that point in time says you need to get it together, you should have got it together. But I didn't do that because I was all excited. 6 years old, all geeked up, got friends. She said it again, but this time I was like, Barbara, your friends got to go home. Get it together. They need to go. Okay, now you see how it was a little small voice and then it became real deep. That's when, okay, this is where Barbara needs to really look around and see what's going on. Well, Barbara, all of a sudden, a little small voice, and Barbara just said, I don't want them to go in my mind. I said, I'm having fun. So what did Barbara do? What did the voice tell Barbara to do? Barbara rose up, turned around, yelled out, shut up. Oh, you don't say shut up. You don't say shut up. Not to your parents, not to my mother, not Sergeant Beckley. Next thing you know, 2 days later, I was in the hospital, laid out. I was unconscious I found out I was unconscious for a few hours. They had to take me to the hospital, and everybody's probably saying, well, what happened? You said shut up, and then now you're in the hospital 2 days later. Yeah, because my mother found the closest thing to her in the kitchen because she couldn't reach me fast enough and threw a shoe at my head. At my head. Now, today's age, they would have been like, that's child abuse. Back in the 70s, not much. That was discipline. But to take the village, when people found out I did that, even after I got to the hospital, my neighbor got on me, my teacher got on me. I mean, my friends down the street told me again, no. So you see how I took a village? Now, see, now at the age of 53, hey, I think I'm doing pretty well. We got the TV show going, I'm a speaker, I do everything else. But I know one thing, when I hear the word shut up, I still get chills. I'm scared to even say it right now. I'm scared to even say it right now. So just let you know that it's nice to have courage, but the respect comes first. The respect comes first. So with that, let's bring on who's everybody is waiting for. Let me push to the side here the Gem Hunter stories. I every Wednesday I tell people I cannot wait. I'm sitting back just like you. He doesn't tell me stuff anymore. We used to talk about his shows. He's like, nope, not saying nothing. You gotta listen to what everybody else is like. But that's okay. That is okay. We will work with that. So with that said, let's bring on Mr. Barry Mixon.
Good morning, bonjour, ni hao, hola, bienvenue, guan li, bienvenidos, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Gem Hunter. My name is Barry B. Mixon, and I am a gemological storyteller. And each and every week, I get the honor and privilege of taking you on a journey to places that you've never been before, to stories that you've never heard before. Each week, I get to take you on a mental, physical, and spiritual adventure into the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry. I've been doing this for 18 years now, and I really believe that there's a connection between people and gemstones. I believe that gemstones can be used as a template, as an inception point, as a bridge to help you and I discover the value of our own stories, the value of our own stories. I've been saying that for weeks. I've been saying that since the beginning of the show. This is episode 31. Thank you so much. And I've been saying that there's nothing has value without a story. A couple of days ago, one of our viewers from New York, thank you so much, and I invite all of you to send me emails, because this is a show about discovery. This is not a show about where I know everything. I don't. But you and I can learn together. So one of the viewers from New York asked a really interesting question. She asked, what is inception point? An inception point is a beginning. And I got the word inception. I knew of the word, but I didn't really understand what it meant until I saw the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio. It came out, I think, actually summer of 2010, so 21 years ago. And if you haven't seen that movie, you have to see it. I mean, it is truly life-changing when you really think about it. What Inception was about was that Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Cobb, specialized in a type of security where he would go into someone's minds. And the theme of the movie was that once you plant a seed into someone's mind. An idea is like the ultimate resistant parasite. Nothing. Once you get that idea in your head, it will never leave, especially if it's a fully formed idea. So that's what inception point is. I want to hopefully each and every week plant a seed in your mind, get you to think differently about who you are in your story. And when you begin to understand the importance of stories, the vital importance of story, when I told you from the beginning that we are genetically predisposed to understand stories. When you hear once upon a time, okay, mommy, I'm ready for a story. The reason why Barbara still remembers that butt whooping that she got so long ago is because it happened as a child and she still understands the story of it. So when you understand the power of stories, you begin to understand what happens if you cannot tell that story, your story. And the quintessential example of that, of understanding the story is Cleopatra. Cleopatra, I didn't know about Cleopatra when I first started. I knew Cleopatra like most of you. Cleopatra was a beautiful woman. When I think of Cleopatra, when I thought of Cleopatra, I thought of Elizabeth Taylor. I was like, okay, she's Cleopatra. But no, that's not who Cleopatra was. This is not Cleopatra. This is not Cleopatra. Okay? This is not Cleopatra. This is a woman playing Cleopatra. But what you will begin to understand when you understand Cleopatra is that women like Cleopatra still exist today. Ladies and gentlemen, Cleopatra was a spectacular woman. I mean, she was absolutely extraordinary. Cleopatra, I don't even understand why every fifth child in the world is not named Cleopatra. Cleopatra's full name was Cleopatra the Seventh Philopater. That was her name, Cleopatra the Seventh Philopater. Strange name, but the power of who she was. You know how people like to say if they would go back in time, they would like to meet somebody. They say, I would like to meet Jesus, or I would like to meet Einstein or Martin Luther King, or for me, for a long time, I'd like to go back and meet Napoleon. No, Napoleon's cool. But when you look at who Cleopatra was, he didn't have anything on Cleopatra. Cleopatra was everything a man would ever want in a woman. And ladies, Cleopatra was everything, or so much what a woman strives to be, can be found in Cleopatra. Now, when we last met, those old television shows, when we last saw our hero, Cleopatra, she was dealing with the death of Julius Caesar. And I thought about that, and I don't want to just leave it there. Cleopatra was, just for those of you who just tuned in, Cleopatra was the last pharaoh of Egypt. She became a queen when she was 18 years old. Think about where you were at 18 years old. She was the queen of arguably one of the most powerful civilizations on the earth. Egypt was before China. Egypt was before anything before Europe. Oh my God. Egypt was before even some of the South American or the America the Incas, the Aztecs. Egypt was that far back. So Egypt was the beginning, and she was a pharaoh, a queen at 18. She married her brother, had to, because of cultural rules. She had to marry her brother.
Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been shown that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a Buddies Network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are Chemo Buddies for Life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
I am back. Technical problems, that's no problem. That's what we do. All right. So back to Cleopatra, because she's still just as awesome. If we can wait 3,000 years to hear this story, I can continue. So again, let me go just back to when she came to Julius Caesar for the first time. You have to understand, ladies, you have to understand this is the baddest woman that you can possibly imagine. This woman went through, knew that her brother, who she had to marry, who eventually turned against her because that's what they did in her family. He had an army waiting for her, not just a few police officers, an army. She rolled down the Nile in between this army, wrapped up in a blanket and linens. She was carried by her servers, her assistants. Now imagine, as a leader, ladies and gentlemen, as a leader, what does it take to people? You understand what you have to do, but you have to teach other people around. You have to inspire them. So even though she would have been killed instantly, the people who were carrying her knew that if they killed her, they were done. But yet they had to keep themselves calm. They went through an entire army, came to Julius Caesar's tent. Julius Caesar was in there with some of his men making it. And when the server, her servant came in with her wrapped up in a rug, laid the rug down, cut the rope to open up the rug for her. And when she rolled out in imperial garb, she literally said, and the reason why I wore this shirt, voila. I mean, think about how bad she had to be as a woman. Now, and again, it's easy to believe that if she looked like this, if she looked like this, it's easy to believe. No problem. Oh my God, she's spectacular. If she looked like this, you would say, yeah, okay, that's how she looks. She's beautiful. She intoxicated Julius Caesar. But no, she didn't look like that. She looked like this. And the reason why she had that kind of power to capture the biggest player in the history of the world at that time. When you go to Player Hall of Fame, Julius Caesar is right there. I told you he had over 500 women. And he was married. And Cleopatra had this is the family shows, had the cojones to walk up, do that, voila, present herself. Why? Because she owned an emerald mine. She owned emeralds. And I told you in the last few emeralds, when you had an emerald, literally people believed that gods lived inside of them. That was her power. All the women of today, J-Lo, all them women, Mickey Mouse, all these women that wear this spectacular jewelry, it started from Cleopatra. Cleopatra created the whole concept of making an appearance. When she came to Julius Caesar the first time, here's Julius Caesar, when she rolled and let's back up, she entranced him. She intoxicated him. When I said many, many episodes again, that famous line from an Obsession commercial, she was like a fever from which I shall never recover. That was Cleopatra. She was the beginning 3,400 years ago. She was the beginning of making an appearance. Her clothes, her hair, everything. Cleopatra owned not only an emerald mine, she owned a gold mine. Most of the riches of the world started in Egypt, and she owned it. That's how powerful she was. So just those of you who are beautiful women out there today, just think about what can you do with your power, your story. If Cleopatra can capture a man like that, what's in your wallet? What are you doing? See, that's the story that they don't tell about Cleopatra. Cleopatra was brilliant. She studied astronomy. She studied all the natural sciences. She studied medicine. The reason why Cleopatra wore her eye makeup like that black line that you saw Elizabeth Taylor and all the actresses wore their portrayal of Cleopatra, that was medicine. She understood medicine so well that she created that eyeliner, which was made out of charcoal. And charcoal, at that time, when the Nile would flood, which was often, it would release the bacteria in the air, and which would irritate the eyes. That's why she wore her eye makeup like that. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, Cleopatra was the ultimate multitasker. The things that you do today, taking care of your kids, your husband, driving and stuff like this, Cleopatra had 4 children. She had 4 children. She had Caesarion, which was the child with Julius Caesar. She had Cleopatra Serene. She had Alexander. Actually, they were twins, fraternal twins, Cleopatra and Alexander. And her last child was named Ptolemy Philadelphus, which, you know, he got teased in school all the time. Philadelphia, at least in my school, he would. But do you think that children was any less crazy 3,000 years ago than they are today? Imagine when you were a mom back in those days, you didn't have the internet. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have cell phones. You didn't have a television to put in front of them. So imagine 3,000 years ago, Cleopatra heard, mommy, 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 mommy. What do you want today? You know what? Say something else. I'm going to feed you to the alligators. Yeah, I mean, of course. And then back in those days, alligators were real. You know that slave we had yesterday? Yes, mommy. You know what happened to him? Yes, mommy. That's what's going to happen to you. Bother me again. She was a mom. They don't tell you that story. And she was a ruler. They don't tell you that she created a perfume factory. She had her own perfume factory in Alexandria. So when she rolled into Rome for Julius Caesar for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, you talk about making an appearance. You know, that party that you need to go to and you're worried about your clothes, your heels, your nails. Cleopatra came down the river on a gold barge, not a golden barge, a gold barge, literally a sailing mansion. The oars that she had, the slave going down the river, were made out of silver. Her sails were purple. Where you think the whole concept of purple being a royal color? Rome didn't know anything about style. In fact, when she first came, the women were like, oh my God, we didn't know we can even do this. Some of you do this today with your hair, your makeup, your clothes. You create that story. You empower not only yourself, but the women around you. That's what Cleopatra did. Roman women started dressing differently because of Cleopatra. They started wearing perfume. They started wearing different colors because Cleopatra was Greek, and Greek was into colors, into different design. So Cleopatra's power, she influenced, she empowered other women to be just like her. Where do you think, remember when Princess Di, everybody started dressing like Princess Di, or Jacqueline Onassis is known for her style of dress? Michelle Obama, even Melania, all of the women, where do you think it started from? It started from Cleopatra. Cleopatra was the ultimate partner, wife, lover. When Julius Caesar got killed, she was right there. She didn't leave. She didn't do the same thing Napoleon's wife did, just leave him hanging. No, she was right there. She warned him, honey, don't go to the Senate. Why? I'm Julius Caesar. Baby, they're going to kill you. I'm telling you, they're going to kill you. And as soon as he walked in, 23 stab wounds. I mean, that's a butt whooping. Okay. She didn't leave. She ran. She was right there in Rome when they killed him. She had to run for her life. Yes, she hooked up with Mark Antony because she was smart. She did what she had to do to make it. She's portrayed as this garden tool, this trollop, this woman that just sleeps. No, she only had 2 men in her life. She had to marry her brother. She was with Julius Caesar, who she had a son with. Meanwhile, he was married. Think about that, ladies. And then she got with Mark Antony, who she married. And then her other son, her son that she also had to marry. Yeah. When Julius Caesar got assassinated, she didn't kick him to the curb. She didn't. She waited. She dealt with his death. And then Mark Antony, seeing who she was, seeing the beauty of her, said, hey, baby, listen, me and you can get together. The thing that Cleopatra does that so many women do today, and I have experienced that myself, is that she elevated. She elevated the man that she was. Julius Caesar, yeah, he was arrogant. He was a general, but he didn't know anything about style. He didn't know anything about politics. Cleopatra taught him that. That's why he fell in love with her. That's why I would love to go back. Because how does a short, plump, funny-looking woman with a hook nose, how does she intoxicate a man that got all these women? That's the thing that you got to think about. Some of us ladies are having problems with the man that you're dealing with right now. Hello, guess what? J-Lo could never be Cleopatra. Elizabeth Taylor, even though she played Cleopatra, she wasn't Cleopatra. You know why? Because if she was, Richard Burton, well, one of her 8 or 9 husbands would have stayed with her. Because they stayed with Cleopatra. She was down. She was down with Julius Caesar. When he got assassinated, she went back. She was ruling a country during floods, famine, insurrection, and the people loved her. She had 4 children and she still went to school. You talk about multitasking. The people loved who she was, and she reigned for 22 years. That's the kind of woman that she was. She handled the finances of Alexandria as a city, Egypt as a country, elevated because of who she was. How many women do we know today, right now, that is responsible for the elevation of a man? The old saying that behind every great man is a great woman or a greater woman. Cleopatra should have started that, because that's who she was. That's the beauty of who she was. And the reason why you don't know her story, and I'll say this again and again, is because someone else told her story. Someone else told her story. Her story was told by the Romans. Ladies, you wonder why? Where did it start? Where women get paid less, which I never understood. How you get paid less for the same job? How women, oh, we don't have a woman president because she's a woman, or women, it's so hard to break the glass ceiling because she's a woman. Where do you think that started? The Romans were terrified of Cleopatra. They did a whole smear campaign on her. They made her out to be a harlot. Why? Because they wanted to take away her power, and they understood if you change the story, you take away someone's power. If you let someone else write your story, you are allowing them to take away your power. And if it worked for somebody like Cleopatra, where 3,000 years later, only thing we know of her is that all thing we think of her is that she was just some woman that slept around. What do you think they're going to do to you? What do you think? And this is when I say you, I'm not even talking about just women. I'm talking about men and women. People come to me all the time with businesses, with ideas. And my first question is, what is your story? What do you want to say? If you cannot tell a story, you have no way of, there's no value. There's no value. Cleopatra continued on doing the things that she did for Julius Caesar, for Mark Antony, because she was a woman. She was a woman who understood so many different things. She understood she could take care of children. She could take care of her man. She could take care of the people in her whole entire country. Her whole country, as a woman, that's what she did. One of the things I didn't say was when she met Julius Caesar, he was so taken by her that when he went back home, he built a temple, a statue in the temple of Venus to honor her. And of course, he was still married, and that's how he felt about this woman. And I keep saying again and again, that's not what she looked like. That beautiful image she was just a regular woman, just like so many women watching this. You're not J-Lo, you're not this, you're a beautiful woman, not just on the outside, but you're beautiful inside. The passion that you hear in me is because I have known people in my life today that was just like Cleopatra. Barbara Beckley. This is a dream that I've had for 18 years. It's Barbara Beckley that said, hey, Barry, you want to do a show? Barbara Beckley is Cleopatra. My business partner, Cosette Barrett, who got me into jewelry, she is Cleopatra. Gentlemen, the women that are in your life, the ones that just was down for you, talking about ride and die, that sister is Cleopatra. Honor her because she is a queen. Barbara calls the women that come on the show queens. This is what, so there's really not an exaggeration, because you begin to understand that the same queen that we're describing, that we're calling Cleopatra, that's the same queen that you have in front of you each and every morning. The woman that you have working at your office with you. The women in your life that have inspired you to be who you are. A woman that has made your story greater because she knew your power. That's who Cleopatra was. And Cleopatra understood. She took the time to understand. She didn't just roll up on Mark Antony. She studied Mark Antony. She knew what he liked. She considered herself a goddess. She just didn't play one. She considered herself a goddess. So again, the story that she was telling was the continuation of what the Egyptian people understood about their gods, Osiris, the male, and Isis, the female. So what did she do? What the story that she believed, she embodied it. She became that. That's the power of stories. When you begin to understand what a story is, no matter where you're going through in your life, if you understand what a story is, then once you get that, then you understand you could become a character in your own story. You can decide whether you want to be a lead character or you want to be a little bit character. You decide. That's what Cleopatra did. She wasn't bothered by the fact that she had enemies all around her. What the things going on in the Middle East today is the same things that were going on 3,000 years ago. She had enemies. She had people. She had the richest empire in the world at that point. You think she didn't have enemies? You think she didn't have haters? What did she do? She elevated herself. She made herself better. She educated herself. She spoke 9 different languages. All the languages of the people in that area, all the surrounding countries, she knew all their languages. In fact, she was the only person in the whole Ptolemy Empire dynasty that actually spoke Egyptian. Oh, that was a bad sister. She was a bad sister. When she came into, let's see if I have that. When she came into Rome, oh, I didn't have that picture. Okay. When she came into Rome, she knew that Mark Antony took on the identity of Dionysus, who was the god of wine. So you know what she did? She made herself Aphrodite. She came into Rome on a boat, and in the middle of the boat was a giant seashell, a sea clam. And she was sitting in the middle of it, surrounded by pearls. And she had all her servants dressed up like cherubs. And she had the air scented, so all the people follow her around. How could you not be in love with that woman? When you think about, ladies, when you think about your presentation, whether it be your corporation, whether it be to your family, whether it be to your man, whether it be to your woman, that presentation of who you are, that's what Cleopatra did. She began to tell the story where people no longer saw her physical. They saw her spiritual. They felt it. They felt her story, and they began to tell the story of not only of Cleopatra, but of themselves. They asked themselves, what can I be? What can I be? That's the power of gemstones. The gemstones, the thing that excites me about gemstones is that gemstones are everywhere. Gemstones have been around from the beginning of time. They have been before us. They're with us now, and they'll be with us long after we leave. That's gemstones. That's an emerald. So when you think about what an emerald is the coming together of forces, of titanic forces. Continents have to come together. Mountains are created. That is the same force and the same energy that emeralds have. And guess what? That's the same energy that Cleopatra had. You see how I can make that analogy? Emeralds, despite all the different gemstones, emeralds are truly rare because of what it takes to make an emerald. Emeralds of this quality is beyond rare, because most emeralds have what they call inclusions in them, that there's something going on. Almost all emeralds have inclusions, but emeralds, what emeralds are inside is so important that we as gemologists, we as appraisers, we don't even call it inclusions like a diamond or a ruby. We call it jardin. Jardin is French for garden. That's who Cleopatra was. She was a garden of earthly delights. She was a naval commander. When Mark Antony, when he got in trouble, when he was literally, Mark Anthony went to war because of this woman. Mark Anthony was all that in a bag of chips, and he went to war to protect this woman. And what did Cleopatra do? She was down. She fought with Mark Anthony. Who wouldn't want a woman like that? Who wouldn't want a woman when you walking down the street? I live in Chicago. Can you imagine being with a woman that is so bad that you're walking down the street? There's 5 guys coming to get me, get us. And I'm saying, yo, baby, I got 3, you take 2. Cleopatra was the kind of sister to say, why you get 3? Why you get 3? What? Because I'm a woman? That's what Barbara would say. That's what so many women that I personally know were like, why you get 3? Because I'm a woman? No, you get 2 and I'll get 3. That's who she was. And the 5 guys sitting there ready, like, what's going on here? Y'all just need to hold on. We need to get this together. That's who Cleopatra was. So I want to create a seed in your mind today. If you didn't understand the power of stories before this moment, you understand now. I know someone right now who has been part of the Chicago Community College system for 18 years. It's only now that she began to tell her story. And what's so funny, she's a professor of African American history. But she didn't know how to tell her own history, her own story. So now that she has been elected one of the members of the new Woman of Excellence, now everyone gets to tell and understand who she is. That's the power of being able to tell a story. Every day you get a chance to recreate your story, recreate who you are and why you do the things you do in your life. So many of us do all these things every day. You went to college, you graduated from this school, you had kids, you keep a house, you survived COVID, you did all these things. You're taking care of your parents, you're taking care of your children, you're taking care of your husband who may or may not lost his job, and the woman brings it all together. I'm glad that Cleopatra, we don't really know what color, what she looked like, because to me, Cleopatra represents all women. White, black, Asian, Hispanic, doesn't make a difference. The descendants of the spiritual descendants of Cleopatra still exist today. That's why I do this show. Because without a story, you have no value. So, and she wasn't perfect. Think about it, ladies. When she married, because she actually married Mark Anthony. She married Mark Anthony, had 3 kids with him. 3. She had Cleopatra Serene, Alexandra, and of course, Ptolemy, Philadelphus, his name, Philadelphus. And he went back to Rome and married some other chick. Some of y'all upset with your man right now. Imagine you're a queen, your man marries someone else, and you didn't see him for 3 years. What did she do? She kept doing what she was doing. She was a queen. She was a goddess. She thought about the things that she had to do. She didn't let that. Yeah, sure. Did she miss him? Sure she did. She loved Mark Anthony. She loved him. It wasn't just a sex thing. It wasn't just a political thing. She really cared about him. She elevated him because he saw himself as Dionysus, the god of wine. So she became Aphrodite. And together, they even had a drinking club together called the Indomitable Livers, where every night they would have unbelievable parties. In fact, there's a story around Cleopatra in pearls because, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, this is June, And I wanted to tell all my people born in this month, we got an exciting show planned for you because this is the month of pearls. This is the month of Alexandrite. This is the month of moonstone, and we're going to go over that. But Cleopatra had a bet with Mark Antony dealing with a pearl. Mark Antony said that I bet you cannot create a lavish party, a party that is so just unbelievable that it's worth more than some of the GNPs of different countries, gross national product. And so Cleopatra created this unbelievable party. Mark Antony, who had been a whole lot of places, who was a Roman general, who had conquered lands, been to a number of parties, he wasn't impressed. So what did she do? She took a pearl that she had, that she was wearing, a beautiful, unbelievable pearl. She dropped the pearl in a cup of vinegar. And those of you know the chemical composition of a pearl, vinegar will basically disintegrate that pearl, and that's what happened. The pearl disintegrated in her goblet, and she drank the pearl, and she won. Mark Antony was impressed. People were impressed with this woman. Take this woman and take the lessons that you can get from Cleopatra and take a moment to look at yourself and say, what is your story? For the guys, take a moment to look at the queen that you have in your life. Now that we understand that physical does not dictate value, just like a gemstone, physical is a part of it. The way it looks is a part of it. Beauty is a part of it. Remember the elements of what a gemstone is. Beauty is one of it. Rarity, durability, desirability, and value. And I know there's a whole lot more that I'm looking at the time. Wow, I forgot. So what I want you to do today on this beautiful day, take a moment to realize, guys, take a moment to realize the Cleopatra in your life. That woman that brings you up, that woman that elevates you, that woman that has made you a better man because of the way she supports and loves. Say thank you. Thank you, my queen. She'll look at you and go, what are you talking about? Just say, go with it. Thank you, my queen. Gentlemen, take a moment. Ladies, take the example of Cleopatra and realize that's you. That's you in so many different ways. You are beautiful each and every day. And the only difference between you, that gemstone, and Cleopatra is that you now understand the stories. So next week, we will talk about pearls. It has been so exciting. Thank you for giving the technical difficulties. Au revoir. And as I always say, discover the value of your own stories. Au revoir.
I'm hanging on your every word, the love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before. I've had a taste, now I want more. So here we are, just you and me. I'm overwhelmed when you touch me. You talk so sweet, I hear the sound, 'cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground.
Yes, yes, yes. I was backstage partying. Not so much a partying like, hey, well, you see me dancing because every time I hear music, I just go. But partying because everybody should be standing up wherever they are right now, women and men. First of all, the women should be standing up to know that they are queens. They are truly queens. And it happened way back, what is it, BC or AD, back when Cleopatra was there, until now. So we have to keep pushing that. I was listening to Barry, as I always do, because I learned so much from him, especially history. I told him, I always tell him, I said, dang, Barry, I wish you was my history teacher back then. Oh my God. I would have got the A plus that my mother wanted me to have instead of getting the A. But that's a whole nother story. Like Barry said, the stories. But I just want women to see, he always hits it where I hit it. I always want women to understand how powerful and amazing you are. And these are just examples. He just gave an example, 2 or 3 weeks, been talking about Cleopatra. Now, if you don't have it in your head right now, and like he said, she was an average, and I'm not saying women in and out, you're beautiful. But he's talking about, just an average woman being the ultimate one. The ultimate one. We always, society always look, especially us as women, we always look at the J-Lo's is beautiful. I give them Beyonce. I give them so much credit. They are beautiful. They are. But I want you to know that you're just beautiful as they are. And that's what Barry is bringing across, that you have to look at the fact that, okay, you can't size yourself up with anybody else because you are amazing. You are unique of your own. So remember that. And this is what brought me to this quote today. I said this yesterday, but I feel like it's really needed for today too. The greatest risk any of us will take is to be seen as we truly are. The greatest risk any of us will take is to be seen how we truly are. Show up as yourself. That's good enough. Show up as yourself. Please do. Don't be an imposter, because you will not, first of all, people will not recognize you. And then you, even more so, will not recognize yourself because you're being somebody else that you shouldn't be. You need to be you, and you need to love you. So that goes all back. And guess what this quote came from? You're going to be kind of interesting. This quote came from the movie Cinderella. Cinderella. I tell people Disney can teach you a lot of things, even when you get older. So with that said, thank you, Mr. Awesome, Amazing, Incredible, Dynamic Barry B. Mixon, for coming on with his Gem Hunter Stories. As you know, the name changed a little bit. I don't know if you noticed that. That means that you've been listening. If you did notice, that means you weren't listening. But that's okay. We're going to give you another chance to do that next Wednesday. But I really appreciate everybody. I appreciate Barry so much. He knows that we talk. We're really leveling up. And we're leveling up in the whole Diamond Factor Experience show with Barbara Beckley. You are going to see some great, other experts come in. Not just the weekly ones that we have, like Barry and Laura and Marty, but I'm going to bring in some other guests that's going to be very interesting for you to learn and grow from. This is about giving value to you. This is, I always look at, I know my name and I've posted and I'm the producer, all that stuff. But the biggest thing is to make sure that I'm giving you something for you to get to the next level in life, for you to think about things. That's why I do the quotes. That's why I read positive things. Because I know every day is going to be that you have to go and fight. You do. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You're going to have those ups and low valleys in life, period. We always do. I just had one a minute ago, and it's going to keep continuing. But if you place yourself and understand your foundation, what I always say, when you understand your purpose, your passion, and your drive in your life, that will drive you to whatever's going on around you. That will drive you to just what happened this morning with Barry. He was in awe. He was going at it. You know how Barry is. Then all of a sudden, froze. Technology. But did Barry, after he got down and I had to bring, we worked it out because that's what we do. He came right back and was right back in his own thing. That's what I'm talking about. That's determination. That's perseverance. That's understanding your PPD to say, you know what? No any means necessary. I got to get back and do what I got to do. Thank you, Barry, for being that person. Thank you, Barry, for being an example. And thank you, everybody, for supporting this show. And with that, we will see you tomorrow. Yes, we're coming right back tomorrow with Laura Armstrong, the lady, the leadership lady. And then after that, I'll be going into my vault, my Diamond Factor vault, to pull out another one-on-one interviews that I do with the women. So that's going to be a special vault interview. And just come tell others about the show. Tell, if people, if they need to come and just, if they want to be on the show. That's another thing I always welcome. If you want to be on the show, contact me through Facebook Messenger, or you can email me at the diamondfactorexperience@gmail.com. So that's all together. I know it's long, but it's the diamondfactorexperience@gmail.com. And we can have a talk so you can come on and just shine, as I always say. I know, there we go, like a diamond to the world. Remember, understand your PPD. I put in a little bow and I call it the Diamond Factor. And with that, we will see you tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.